Probably the second biggest game of the international weekend this week is New Zealand vs Scotland. Now I've just seen the team release, and this honestly could be one of Scotland's biggest opportunities to get one over the All Blacks in recent memory. I mean, that All Blacks team is very strong, but obviously losing a few players to injury last week, some key players in some key leadership positions, that can play a pivotal role. But I mean, All Blacks with a great team: Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Fletcher Newell, Josh Lord, Fabian Holland, Wallace Atiti, Artie Savia, Peter Lakai, Cam Roygard, Bowden Barrett, Caleb Clark, Quinn Tupaya, Lester Fainga'anuku, Leroy Cards, and Will Jordan. That is an incredible team. And one thing I will say, which I don't think many people have actually touched on, is Lester Fainga'anuku last week was incredible when he came on for the All Blacks. For me, him and Caleb Clark really changed the momentum of that game. I watched the game back and I saw how much Caleb Clark actually did last week. His work rate was phenomenal. That was probably his best game I've seen him play for the All Blacks in recent memory. I think Quinn Tupaya is also making a big case just to really stay in that number 12 jersey, because he's been a workhorse and he's been dominant lately. I mean, Lester Fainga'anuku coming back from Toulon, I mean, he is world class, and every time he touches the ball, it's magic, it's electric. So I do think this is a massive game for the All Blacks, especially in Scotland, and I think they know that, because Scotland's team is incredible. You've got Piers Skuman, Ewan Ashman, Darcy Ray, Scott Cummins, Grant Gilchrist, Gregor Brown, Matt Ferguson, Jack Dempsey, Ben White, Finn Russell, vice-captain, Kyle Steyn, Sione Tuipulotu, captain, Rory Hutchison, 13, Darcy Graham, and Blake Kinghorn. So just looking at the team straight up, you can already tell that the backline is world class, and it's really not much between them. I'll say a big difference maker could be the 13 position, the 13 jersey, because I mean, Lester Fainga'anuku on his current form now could really impact the game. And I mean, Rory Hutchison is a great player, but obviously not having Hugh Jones is a big loss, especially with that combination with Sione Tuipulotu, who is an absolute world-class player. I mean, him for Glasgow Warriors, he just rips teams apart. It's incredible. I mean, Blair Kinghorn at 15 versus Will Jordan is going to be a incredible battle. That's going to be one to watch. And I mean, Kyle Steyn is no slouch. He is a world-class winger. At club level, he just seems to just score tries for fun. And I mean, Darcy Graham is incredible, but obviously Caleb Clark and Leroy Carter as well on the other side are just pure speed and power there. So that's going to be very interesting. Where I do think the All Blacks have the upper hand is in the forwards and on the bench, but I mean the forwards especially. The All Blacks bench is Samisoni Tukiaho, Tamati Williams, Basilo Tosi, Sam Darry, Duplessis Karifi, Cortez Ratima, Billy Proctor, and Damien McKenzie. So I mean, that's a very strong bench. I like seeing Duplessis Karifi there. He is a world-class player, and just with some more game time in the black jersey, he can really put some incredible performances in. But yeah, I mean, just those two forwards there, Takiaho and Tamati Williams, is already two players that could start in almost any team in the world. I mean, I really rate Tamati Williams extremely high. Obviously, for me, I think Asafo Amua is one of the best hookers in the world. He is so good, and he's the one person I just never want to see playing against South Africa, because he's so good. He is incredible. But Takiaho is also world class, and I mean, when Cody Taylor retires, you got Takiaho and Asafo Amua. I mean, the All Blacks have a really, really strong hooker depth. They won't have a problem with that going forward. But yeah, I think the game will be won in the forwards this week, since the backs are so evenly matched. I mean, you got Cam Roygard and Bowden Barrett again, 9 and 10. Really getting stuck into that combination. And then obviously Quinn Tupai and Lester Fainga'anuku, it's their first start, I think, in the All Blacks together, or first start in a long time. But yeah, that last week looked like a very good combination. So to see how they perform together will be very interesting. And to see how they perform against Tuipulotu and Rory Hutchison as well will be very interesting. But I do think this is Scotland's big opportunity to try get one. I mean, I don't think they've ever beaten the All Blacks. I'm not sure, or in like how many years, but since I've been alive, they've never beaten the All Blacks. So this is one that they can really, really push for. But will that be the downfall? Is them really pushing too hard and maybe going out of their game plan to try win the game early on? Because I mean, that's a very strong Scotland team, but it's almost like All Blacks are their kryptonite in recent years because they can beat some great teams like England. They can take France to the 80th minutes. They can do all this. They always have a good game against Ireland, but it's just those big games. They fall away. They almost fall away. So that's going to be very interesting. It is at Murrayfield, so it's a home game for Scotland, which is always incredible atmosphere. But this is definitely my second best game of the weekend, the second biggest game, and I think this game will be one to watch. Obviously, got England versus Fiji, which is still a good game, but then obviously Springboks France is the big game for the weekend. But this game's not far behind. This is a very, very good rugby game that's going to be played this weekend. But can Scotland hang in there? Can they win? I don't know. This New Zealand team is slowly but surely building those wins, getting better second half performances, especially late second half performances where they've been struggling in recent times. Scott Robertson is going to the bench more late in the game instead of playing players for a full 80, which is good to see because, I mean, those players need the experience. So it's going to be very interesting. I mean, the All Blacks have an extremely strong squad, Scotland as well, so that's going to be a great game to watch. We'll do a review after the game and maybe some player ratings, but yeah, that's going to be a great game to watch.